Welcome to Boston with KNN, the Kingdom News Network. I'm Anthony Galang, and this is my co-host, Joy Hodgin.
Thanks, Anthony. It's so exciting to be here in Boston. This is where the dream began, the birthplace of God's modern-day movement. In 1979, Kip McKean challenged the 30 people in the Gimpels living room to be true disciples of Jesus.
Today, over 7,000 people attend the Boston Church every Sunday. And from here, the movement spread to 140 countries all over the world. As you watch this edition of KNN, let the Boston backdrop inspire you to dream big dreams for God. KNN is here in Boston to bring you the second annual Kingdom Campus Congress led by Marty and Chris Fuqua. 500 leaders of campus ministries from all over the world have gathered here to unify and to learn how to be more effective in reaching college students for God.
If you put God first and His kingdom first, He will raise you up. He will bless you before the campus. He will let you shine in a dark world. He'll put you in situations where you can make a great impact on many, many souls.
It's amazing to see so many different types of people from different backgrounds and different cultures united in one Lord, one faith, one baptism, and one Spirit. Randy and Kay McKean and the Boston Church are graciously hosting this historic event.
Let's start our report on the campus conference with a look back at some of the current Kingdom leaders who became disciples right here on the campuses of Boston.
If you want to build an awesome ministry at an awesome campus, you've got to put the level of commitment at its highest. That every disciple in this ministry will be totally sold out for God.
And Jesus says, can you be a slave? You know, Jesus was teaching them an important lesson. Yeah. And that was the way of the cross.
Right. Yeah. You see, when you have a burning desire, you will make the sacrifice in time. You'll make the sacrifice and commitment. You're willing to put yourself last so others can become first.
I love the campus ministry. It is exciting. It's so much fun. So we need to appreciate that we've got the fun one.
Many people don't even understand this generation called Generation X. But the statistics tell us that they are less interested in making money and more interested in what they'll become. They're less interested in a large house and in a big reputation than enjoying the life they have. It may well be the most open generation we have known in our lifetime. They have learned from the lives of their parents who have sought money and fame and fortune that it doesn't work.
He was in there and he goes, "You're going to be a preacher one day." I go, I am not going to be any such thing any time in my life, ever.
God is raising up new kingdom leaders on campuses around the world. The spirit of this year's Campus Congress was captured by a song written by Robert Duncan, performed by the Radicals, and illustrated in KNN's first music video. The title is Cry Freedom.
See the girl sitting in the classroom, thinking about the money that her parents spent so she could get a degree and become the person that her mama always wanted to be. See the boy and his college buddies, he's drinking hard so that he'll fit in. He drops his head and thinks about the future, wondering where this will end. Freedom to the captive soul. Break down the walls so they will know that freedom comes when they let go and set their spirits free. Cry freedom to the fearful heart. Release the prisoners of doubt. Cry freedom to a world that has a right to know. Jonathan wants to be a doctor. It's gonna take a lot for that to happen. A little cocaine to keep him going, but now he's got a habit to feed. Cry freedom to the captive soul. Break down the walls so they will know that freedom comes when they let go and set their spirit free. Remember wants to be a famous actress. She starves herself just to look the part. But what she doesn't see inside the mirror is the damage it's done to her heart. Well, Mary sits alone out on the courtyard. She can't believe the mess that she got in. And as the baby starts to move inside her, she desperately needs a good friend. Like freedom to the captive soul, break down the walls so they will know that freedom comes when they let go and set their spirits free. Like freedom to the fearful heart, release the prisoners of doubt. Like freedom to a world that has a right to know. Like freedom to the fearful heart, release the prisoners of doubt. Like freedom to a world that has a right to know the freedom for their soul. Even with my eyes closed, going day to day, never knew the difference, never cared either way. Looking for a reason, searching for a sign, reaching out with both hands, gotta feel the kick inside. I believe there comes a time when everything just falls in line. We live and learn from all mistakes. The deepest cuts are here by faith. Now I believe there comes a time when everything just falls in line. We live and learn from all mistakes. The deepest cuts are here by faith. I believe there comes a time when everything just falls in line. We live and learn from all mistakes. The deepest cuts are here by faith. I believe there comes a time when everything just falls in line. We live and learn from all mistakes. The deepest cuts are here by faith.
I believe the battle for campus ministry is the crucial battle in the war of world evangelism. If we lose this battle, we will lose the war. Campus ministry is not some little ding-dong, halfway, let's have a campus ministry. Won't that be neat? We've got our church here, and we got this little ministry, and that little ministry, some little ministry, and we're just a well-rounded ministry. No, I'm telling you, campus ministry is the defining ministry of the church. And you as a campus minister better get conviction that you better start winning the battle in your church. The battle of campus ministry.
Lee and I are blessed at this time to also be working in the UCLA ministry. Unfortunately, I find myself in too many occasions these days, in too many churches, I look around and I find myself the oldest guy in the crowd. And so I have set out, like many of the missionaries sent out from Boston, to learn a new language. If you're not a baptized disciple, then Jesus does feel you, but it's not all good. You're jockeying for possessions and relationships. you're filthy, fine, and fly. But you just got worked by Satan. Jesus sees you as janky. It's not time to chill or kick it or to have a whatever attitude. But you need a whatever it takes attitude so your life can truly be the bomb. Amen, church?
Here we are at the Fleet Center, home of the Boston Celtics, where the Kingdom Campus Congress, the New York City Church, and the Boston Church have gathered together for Sunday worship service. Behind me are 14,000 radical disciples who've committed their lives to worship the Lord. At this conference, the Spirit of God has renewed our zeal to evangelize campuses around the world like no other time before. Pray for your campus ministers to evangelize their campuses. Pray for your campus ministers to evangelize the future leaders that will evangelize our world in our generation.
We're here at the Boston Hat Show, home of the famous Boston Pops Orchestra. You may recall a previous edition of KNN that featured Sean Holland, co-star of the television series Clueless. Recently, Sean shared his love for God on a talk show hosted by the famous entertainer Sinbad.
I gotta tell you something from the bottom of my heart, man. When I first started in the industry, they were sending me out for like naked in outer space. I was like, man, I can't be doing that.
Yep.
I'm trying to put it down for God, you know what I'm saying? And they said, well, you know, this is the kind of industry. Thank you. Yeah, give it up for God. There you go. Yeah. All right. Yeah. But I had producers telling me, you know, well, that's what the industry is. Who you think you're going to model your career after? And I said, Sinbad.
But you got to trust it that something good's going to come along.
That's right. That's where God comes in.
That's right.
That's right.
Sometimes you be like this. You get no.
Yeah.
God work you strange. You're like, God, I know you're out there. You just haven't visited me.
Right.
Now that's the joy and boldness we all need in our faith. With this edition of KNN, we introduce a new segment entitled Profiles in Courage. We will honor the disciples who have shown incredible faith and courage in their walk with God. Our premiere story features a brother who has shed his blood for Jesus. His name is Sammy, and he and his wife planted the church in Iraq.
Everything was going well. One disciple, my friend, had baptized 16 of his relatives, even with major persecution. One day I was called by the government to come in for questioning. My friend and I drove there. He waited in the car. The officials asked me what I was doing in their country. I told them that I studied the Bible with people. They hit me. They blindfolded me. They asked about my friend. They took me outside, but my friend and the car were gone. They blindfolded me again and drove me to a prison. They threw me in a terrible dark little cell where they slid food through one little hole. I would pray every night for at least 12 hours. I prayed specifically for God to have Saddam Hussein grant me a pardon to get out of prison so I could evangelize my family. For 9 days, 2 times a day, they questioned me. They told me to swear and denounce the Bible. I read Matthew 5:33, which says, "Do not swear at all, even by heaven, for it's God's throne." They continued to beat me until I bled. I could feel the blood running down my back. I told them, I'm only doing my purpose that God called me to do. They searched my home and took my papers, sermon notes, and picture of my son. They said, if you ever want to see your son again, you have to tell the truth. The next 35 days in my cell, I continued to pray. Because they would not let me have my Bible, I wrote scriptures on the wall with the bones from the soup they gave me. I never knew if my friend was still alive. Because of the war near the prison, they had to move me. At that time, I saw my friend. We spoke for only 10 minutes. We encouraged each other to stay faithful. Seeing him alive was awesome. We were separated again. After 140 days, a judge gave me a pardon directly from Saddam Hussein to get out of prison. Exactly as I prayed. I was released and went home only to find my family missing. Disciples helped me to find them. They were in mourning because they thought I was dead. I told them that God had saved me twice. Once when I was baptized and once when God let me out of prison. Before I was in prison, my cousin had persecuted the church for sending me to Iraq. When I was released, he saw that I was still faithful to God. I studied the Bible with him and baptized him 2 weeks later. If it takes me continuing to go to prison so that I can save my family, I will continue to go.
Amen. I am personally convicted about Sammy's life. Brothers and sisters, it's to our shame if we let the small and petty things of this world discourage us from sharing our faith. Honestly, Sammy's life gives us no excuses. This kind of persecution is what our brothers and sisters constantly endured during the first century. And as the kingdom grows and spreads around the world, we will have fellow brothers and sisters die for their faith and shed their blood for Jesus. Let's have the heart of Sammy, who is grateful to suffer so that others can be saved.
Our first Mission Minute features a brother whose convictions are making an impact on the music industry. Elroy Smith is a Program and Operations Director of WGCI, the #1 radio station in Chicago.
I remember after purchasing my first home in Chicago, I stood in my kitchen and said, wow, this is before I became a disciple. I have a car, a BMW. I have a great job, program director of the #1 station in Chicago. Now I have my home. Then I paused. I said, is this it? And I believe at that point I was talking to God. A few months later, a lady named Erica Baker came into my home very, very excited about this new church that she discovered, the church, Chicago Church of Christ. I have never, ever seen someone so happy about a church until I met Erica. She said, you need to come out. I could not believe in my heart how these people stood up in front of this congregation and shared their life, just stuff that I would never share. But deep in my heart, I said, wow, I'm covering up all of what's going on in my heart so I can relate. So on Easter Sunday of 1994, I gave myself over to God. One of the big challenges that I had a couple of years ago, there was a song that an artist gave me which was very, very suggestive. And at that point, I had just become a disciple. So that was like one of my first challenges. How do I tell the artist or the record company that I won't play this song? Prior to that, I probably would have played it. So I said to them that this song is too suggestive, we won't play it on the air. The artist went back to the studio and redid the lyrics, made it more pure, and the song became a very, very successful song on GCI.
Family oriented, you know, he got married, and he treats us like a family, and he tries to keep us together like brothers and sisters. And I mean, it's that whole thing. Even when we have the meetings, you know, I mean, meetings aren't just about business, it's about a family, it's about togetherness, keeping the unity here at the station.
One of the greatest joys of being a disciple is being able to sit down, open the Bible, build a relationship with people, and convert their hearts. That is the most thrilling experience one could ever experience. Between Vonda and I and all of the people that we have brought to the Lord, we're looking at a number of probably over 60 people that have come to the Lord, our wonderful tree of disciples.
Miracles are happening in the kingdom of God. Just as in biblical times, with miracles come challenges. Recently, Phil and Donna Lamb resigned as leaders of the Central and South America World Sector due to family and health problems. The family has moved to Los Angeles for further discipling and care. God has used the Lambs in a powerful way, in planting Mexico City with just 13 disciples, to planting churches in all but 5 of the nations in Central and South America. God is greater than our challenges. God has raised up Peter and Laura Garcia Bengochea to lead this world sector. Peter and Laura planted churches in Rio de Janeiro and Bogota, Colombia. Over the last 5 years, they've led the Mexico City Church to a Sunday attendance of over 5,000. This is one of the largest super churches in our movement today. In a future edition of KNN, we will introduce you more personally to Peter and Laura, as we will also see the exciting plans that Central and South America World Sector has in evangelizing all their nations of the world. Let's be praying for the Lambs, let's be praying for the Garcias, let's be praying for all the disciples under their charge.
Disciples are using the internet to spread God's message around the world. In the last year, numerous individual disciples and nearly 40 international churches of Christ have introduced websites. The main website for the movement was given an Editor's Choice Award by Web Magazine with this comment: "This well-designed, savvy sanctuary profiles members' benevolent acts, outlines the church's beliefs, and lists a worldwide directory where interested pilgrims can find the nearest ecclesiastical locale." Our site shared honors with Disney's Hercules website. The address for our site is www.icoc.org. Check it out and the other great news from all the sites.
Once again, disciples all over the world have sacrificed for our special missions contribution to evangelize the world in our generation. As the year 2000 approaches, we are on track to meet the goal that God has laid on our hearts, to plant a church in every nation of the world with a city of at least 100,000 population.
This summer alone, 8 churches will be planted in the Middle East. And as a geographic sector leader for the Middle East, our own Anthony Galang is responsible for 5 of those plantings. This year, 12 new countries will be planted around the world.
That's right, Joy. God is truly blessing the disciples around the world. Brothers and sisters, it's going to be exciting to meet the new Christians from all of these countries. Worldwide in God's modern-day movement, there are now 330 churches in 140 countries. 31 countries are waiting.
We've saved some of the best news for last. Recently, Kip McKean has traveled to places like Milan and Berlin to strengthen the churches. He prayed with the leaders of the great Moscow church on the very bridge where he and Elena prayed with the original mission team in 1991. In Athens, he met at the Acropolis with the leaders of the Central and Eastern European churches and challenged them to evangelize their nations.
But the best news for Kip and Elena came at home. Recently, they decided to rejuvenate the LA Church's teen ministry. An outstanding young disciple, Jonathan Perkins of Miami, was chosen to lead this revival. In his first all-day youth rally, the 300 teen disciples had an attendance of over 1,300 people, and 7 teens were baptized.
Later that same day, Kip and Elena baptized their youngest child, Eric, in the Pacific Ocean. We remember seeing Sean and Olivia being baptized in the ocean, and now the entire McKean family are disciples.
I thank God that we have leaders in the kingdom that raise up their kids in the ways of God. As a movement, we need to pray for each other. We need to pray for each other's families. We need to pray for each other's kids. Let's make sure the second generation of disciples far surpass whatever that has been done before to evangelize this world. We leave this edition of KNN with a music video of Eric McKean's baptism. I'm Anthony Galang.
And I'm Joy Hodgen.
Signing off for KNN, the best news you'll ever see.